people were giving me reports on the ground, people that were doctors, people that were nurses, people that were first responder types, and they were saying things, the whistleblower types, they were saying things that was not at all in line with the narrative. And we tried really hard to get the information out there, and we were charged, suspended, vilified, ostracized, called seditionists, etc.
Welcome to Occam's Razor. Please like, share, subscribe. If you have any tips you'd like to leave me, there's a link down below. I'm always looking for new stories. And please let your friends know. Maybe we'll actually get up to 10 subscribers. Wouldn't that be a thing? Now, the person you listened to at the beginning was Dawn Dussault. She's an ex-infantry officer, did 15 years in the military, has her own security company on the side, has a channel. There will be a link down below as well. She was interviewed by Viva Frei recently, and she went through many of the same things that I did. I'm going to assume mentally. I'm going to be putting up the rest, not the entire clip, just a piece of Viva Frei's interview. Again, there'll be a link to that interview down below. You should really watch the whole thing. She will be talking about the COVIDity stupidity. And with the information that she was digging up at the time. I was digging up a lot of the same information at the time as well. She had some more specific sources that she was privy to. Meanwhile, I was just scrambling to get information anywhere and everywhere that I could. Seems we both came out to the same conclusion. Very much of the information that she was digging up was the same stuff I was too at the time, that these jibby jabs were not safe, that they had a lot of adverse events. Now she's going to talk a little bit about some of the information that she has dug up, and after that, I want to put on a little piece from her back in November 2021. I recall exactly how I felt at the time as well, having been denied my religious accommodation for not taking the jibby jab. And at the time, in November 21, I had to make a decision whether or not I was going to stay or whether I was going to take the jab, be coerced to take it to keep my job. And that wasn't going to happen, which is why today I do not suffer the jibby jab adverse events like all those who took it. And those who didn't suffer those events, well, you probably either got a placebo or you haven't gotten them yet. That's my opinion only. I am not a doctor. I'm just observing. And speaking of observing, let's get on to that little clip that I have of Dawn being interviewed by Viva.
But even during 2020, I was looking at medical, scientific, and government data that was censored in Canada, and so we were not aspirating needles. The PCR testing was ineffective, in my humble opinion, and how it was cycled as well. And you couldn't tell the difference between the flu or COVID. I had the vaccine adverse events reports from even as early as February of 2021, and I was sharing that. And I was sharing that people were contracting COVID via inoculation even at that time, and there were fatalities. There were so many other adverse events, but this was significant. Then I was getting within the network that there were possible links to children under the age of 5 dying, possibly connected to this therapeutic. And so there was just a lot of information that was getting fed also during its so I could talk about that as well. In Public Health Ontario, they've archived their data now since March 2023, but they even in their reports that they were giving as direction for the statistics, they were, it's even in there, I could share this information, but it was 50% that they were increasing the death that had allegedly COVID. So they actually had it in these stats where they had reported cases of deaths that they were saying were reported and official and confirmed. And at the top, it says 50% increase in reporting of deaths. And the infection rates, depending on the age group, was incredibly significant. So they were inflating the infection rates. So you had the actual reported cases for deaths. It was already increased by 50%, which I thought was a crime in my humble opinion. Anyways, that's being dramatic, sorry. But the infection rates as well, like by age group, the reported versus what they were predicting was ridiculous. For the younger age groups, it was they were inflating it by over 300%, and if you get into the older age groups, it was upwards of over 600%. And anyways, and so that to me was questionable. The Yeah, there's so much I can talk about in that. So I was getting medical, government, and scientific data, and I was also, again, people were giving me reports on the ground, people that were doctors, people that were nurses, people that were first responder types, and they were saying things, the whistleblower types, they were saying things that was not at all in line with the narrative. And we tried really hard to get the information out there, and we were, again, we were charged, suspended, vilified, ostracized, called seditionists, etc. And even the Freedom Convoy, this was another staged and planned event, unfortunately, that involved the highest levels of government. Just like the January 6th Capitol riots, this was staged and planned. I was calling out Ray Epps. I was calling out the pipe bombs being deliberately planted, and crisis actors being involved. And
Okay, before we watch this little clip here by Dawn, you'll notice that she made an observation that I believe is still today. People who've taken the injection really don't want to know the truth. Most of them don't. They don't want to know all the stuff that we were digging up at the time that is now being confirmed. The high rates of damage that is being done. And it's true. People that took the GB jab don't want to know. Even as earlier this past Christmas, I had lots of information. My relatives were not interested. No, I don't want to know what's in my body. I don't want to know what's in for me. Right? So let's watch that little clip.
I think since then it's been very difficult to have any sort of conversation with a lot of people that have done this, only because it's almost strange. It's like now they're like, okay, you know what? Now I don't have to follow up. I don't have to do any more research, even though, again, this is a trial treatment medication, and it's still only authorized. It's not approved. It's now still authorized under emergency use. And again, it's been extended here until the March timeframe.
Guess what? You want to watch the rest of this? They're going to have to watch it on Rumble because this is CommieTube and they don't like when we talk about the truth when it comes to the vaccine after they have been so heavily invested into the narrative that has injured and unalived so many people. So we'll see you later. Bye.